Hello and welcome to the Sim Dynamics workshop. My name is Simon Mason. I'm the founder of Sim Dynamics. Behind me you see my own sim rig, Trigger's Broom of sim rigs. It's been involved in many ways and shapes and forms over the years. And I suppose this video is really just a short one to introduce myself and give a little bit about the background and experience and knowledge and attitude, I suppose, that I have to simulators. Now, I've built a lot of simulators now, not just my own, but a lot for customers that race in the World Endurance Championship. I have customers racing in the LMS and historic racing and British GT and so on and so forth. The point is I've been around building simulators and therefore using all the hardware and software a lot over the years. And it's constantly evolving, that world. My attitude to simulators very simply comes from the fact that I've been in motor racing myself for over 30 years, training drivers, racing myself. I've won 3 championship titles, working with high-end car manufacturers, supercar manufacturers, driving cars that I could only ever dream of ever owning, and I've been very privileged to drive those cars on circuit, demonstrating them and so on. That passion, that enthusiasm for cars is what led me into simulators in the first place. And what started to stand out, particularly in the last probably 8 to 10 years, is as the hardware's changed, so has the quality of the simulators. They've gone from, frankly, being games to something that actually does simulate very accurately elements of real-world driving. And as it's moving on, as the technology is moving on, it's getting more and more detailed, more and more accurate. And where they're particularly good is the brain training. You can argue in the early days when you're starting out in motorsport they're very good for learning circuits as well, but ultimately the circuits aren't that hard to learn. But that's an ultimate thing. That happens a sort of a year or so down the line of learning to be a racing driver. Where a simulator really helps, and it seems to be the case with absolutely everybody that uses them, is the brain training, the concentration, the routine, the emotional control of driving quickly. You see, when you drive a car fast on a circuit, we're very aware of consequences. We're very aware of trying to be brave and pushing into what we believe or understand the limits of that car might be. On a simulator, that isn't there. There is no consequence. You fire off into a wall, you just press escape, stick yourself back in and off you go again. Except in maybe iRacing or something where there's some level of consequence, but still ultimately you can walk away from it. But not in the real world. And what that delivers us, I suppose, in simulation is that we have to really concentrate. We really have to look at what we're doing, because there's no longer that fear factor making us brake. We're now having to brake to the limit of the car by using landmarks, by using references, which ultimately is what all professional drivers do anyway. It's all very well thinking, well, you know, it's just about being braver, and there is an element of that in the real world, naturally, because the cars, especially these days, are amazingly fast with so much grip, but they're still ultimately controlled by physics, which means they still have a limit. And in a simulator you have to drive to limits effectively, and you're driving to them without G and yaw giving you that last giveaway clue, the easy clue as it were, that the car is on its limit. And that's really what a simulator delivers ultimately to all professional racing drivers, all serious racing drivers, anyone that wants to improve as a driver, because you have to dig deep, you have to concentrate, you have to control your emotions, you have to be honest with yourself about what you just did. Did that accident happen because I went in too fast? Did it happen because I wasn't looking far enough ahead? Did it happen because I didn't listen to the fact that the wheels were locking up and I didn't just ease the brake pedal enough to reduce that lockup? Did that happen because that crash happened because I was adding steering coming out of the corner? All these things absolutely apply in a simulator. They happen in a simulator in exactly the same way as they do in the real world. The only thing that's missing is you haven't got that get out clause of yaw, of G, giving you that extra cue that something is going wrong. So you're tuning into steering feel, sound and visual. But the principle is exactly the same, and that's really the key thing with a simulator. So I hope that gives you a little bit of a feeling for how we think about simulators, how we use them. I'm going to create more videos with more technical detail as time goes by. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and a link to contact me, it will follow at the end of this video. So thank you very much.